In case you haven't been paying attention to the internet at all, the Nintendo Switch 2 was announced recently, and all of us been wondering, hey, what's that little button that we don't know what it does yet? And so we're going to have to wait till April for more details. But one of the questions I've been getting asked is, hey, Craig, the OLED is $275. Should I get one? And that is a question that involves further questions. And so we've narrowed down 3 simple questions you can ask yourself. Is the Switch OLED worth it to you before the Switch 2 comes out? I'm Craig with Out of Control Games, and this is just a simple question of, is the Switch OLED still worth it in 2025? So here's what we know about the Switch 2 so far, is that it will be backwards compatible with almost every major Nintendo Switch title, physical and digital. The exceptions that we believe so far until we get confirmation in April are things like Ring Fit Adventure, the Nintendo Labo, those sort of Joy-Con experiences where you have to have an accessory. Other than that, pretty certain your copy of Mario Kart 8, as well as Mario Odyssey, and numerous other games are going to be backwards compatible 1-to-1. Now, that said, will you be buying a Switch 2 on day one? If yes, then hold on, don't go ahead and jump into a Switch OLED. So far, the price for the Switch 2 that we are not 100% on, but pretty positive on, is going to be somewhere around the $450 range, which is steep. That's almost PS5 territory here, which is actually, it's PS5 territory, let's be honest. We've seen prices as low as $400 with a Mario Kart 8 bundle for $450, or $450 base model with a Mario Kart bundle for $500. While we're not 100% sure on what it's going to be so far, the $275 for a Switch OLED could be put towards a Switch 2 for now. Just hold on to your dollars. But if you're like me and several other people who waited to buy a Switch day one and just waited for the library to get bigger, or you just don't care, you're just like, hey, you know what, I'll get it eventually someday, go ahead, get the Switch OLED. There's a fantastic library of games you can stock up on. So if you do eventually get a Switch 2 in the next several years, then you have a great back catalog that you can delve into at any time. When posed with the question of, should I buy a Switch OLED now? Honestly, do you have a Switch base model, OG, or a Lite? Because if you do, then yeah, make the upgrade if you're not buying the Switch 2 day one. Honestly, if you're going to buy a Switch 2 day one, then hold off. Just don't spend the $275. But the big thing is, do you want to enjoy your games in a bigger screen with a more gorgeous display? If you're not going to be, because honestly, it's worth the upgrade in so many ways. I love playing on a bigger screen. I love playing on a more gorgeous lax, those OLED crisp details. But here's the big thing. We don't know what the Switch 2 screen is going to look like. Once we do have more information in April, we can definitely revisit this conversation. But if you're buying a Switch 2 day one, hold off. But if you have like another couple of years before you want to invest into it, absolutely make the plunge. $275 is a great price. This is Black Friday pricing we're seeing, and we might see this price even drop even further the closer we get to the Switch 2's release. And so at this point, you're just sold that, hey, yeah, you know what? I want to buy an OLED. Well, I have one more question for you. Have you considered the secondhand market? Honestly, you can save a ton of money buying used, build a great library. So when you are ready to upgrade to the Switch 2, you have a wonderful foundation. I've seen Switch OLEDs go anywhere between $150 for just the tablet up to about $250 with the tablet, dock, Pro Controller, and several games. It's a wonderful time to buy a Switch, whether you're holding off until the Switch 2 launches. There's so many games you can start stocking up on. Honestly, the PlayStation 4 released in 2013, and we're still getting new titles for that. So if you have a Switch, or if you're buying a Switch for the first time before you get a Switch 2, we're going to continue to see Switch games into the first several years and beyond of the Switch 2's life cycle. And if you're still like, I don't know what the Switch 2 is, just think of the phone model. Nintendo's finally delving into the vast thing that Samsung and Apple have been doing for years, along with Microsoft is now doing it in some ways ish And PlayStation's been doing it since the PS1 to PS2. But look, it's going to be more powerful hardware, more of your same great games you can play on the Switch, and old hardware is going to continue to be supported. So either way, you're going to be delving into a fantastic and wonderful ecosystem. If you're like, hey, I don't know if I should pull the trigger, just do it. Honestly, it's a wonderful, fantastic ecosystem with tons of games to play. You're not going to regret the purchase, even if you do decide to buy a Switch 2 day one. And so, hey, we hope this kind of helps maybe take a little bit of that pressure off if you're wondering, should you go ahead and dive into the Switch ecosystem? Anyway, this has been Craig with Out of Control Games, and we know that life, kids, work, everything gets out of control and chaotic at times. Hey, don't let your gaming be.